Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Nabila Hayati.
My name is Aina Shahira binti Musli.
My name is Amira Batrisha binti Aziz.
My name is Nurul Aisyah binti Sofyan.
My name is Wan Farhani binti Wan Abdullah.
My name is Wan Nur Najah Afika binti Wan Azman.
And my name is Amal Nabia binti Ahmad Tajuddin. First, the overview of manufacturing industry in Malaysia. Manufacturing industry is responsible for fabrication, processing, and preparation of products that utilize from raw material, producing foods, chemicals, machines, equipment, and many more. So it is crucial in generating a lot of products, which is significant to economy. Manufacturing industry in Malaysia. Since independence in 1957, Malaysia has accomplished an excellent improvement of its manufacturing sector, mostly from natural resources bases, which is palm oil, rubber, and tin. Then, they realized that they need to reduce dependence on imports and the need to create technology-based sectors to ensure the success of national economy. Since the manufacturing industry is the fastest growing industry and become one of the country's development factors, the manufacturing sectors has played an essential role within the economic transformation in Malaysia. The supply and demand chain of manufacturing industry during COVID-19 pandemic.
So now I will explain about the supply and demand chain of manufacturing industry during COVID-19 pandemic. It is obvious that there is macroeconomic impacts on manufacturing industry, as we can see that our economic growth is plummet. From the graph, both aggregate demand curve and aggregate supply curve are shifting to the left, showing that there is negative effect. The output production drops gradually from Y1 to Y3, while the price level is unstable, as we can see that it is ambiguous. Due to the movement restrictions and lockdown, there is shortage in labours, causing the supply of output falls, and the reduction in domestic and foreign spending on manufactured goods, causing the demand for the products also decrease.
Manufacturing industry performance and its change in the contribution to GDP before and during pandemic. For the pandemic, Malaysia's manufacturing sales grew 7.5% in December 2018 to 72.3 billion ringgit. As we know that the virus COVID-19 in Malaysia have started at the end of January 2020, so at that time, Malaysia's manufacturing sales grew 7.0% to 110.6 billion ringgit in February 2020. It showed a slight decline over the last 2 years, with the difference between manufacturing sales grew in February 2020 and manufacturing sales grew in December 2018 is 0.5%. To break the chain of virus COVID-19 in Malaysia, the government have made movement control order, or we call as MCO, to all the country. This having an impact on manufacturing, as not all are classified as essential. In 2020, the manufacturing sector's contribution to gross domestic product or GDP is 316 billion ringgit. The uncertainty over the immediate health and future of manufacturing is a source of concern. The sector accounts for 22.3% of the country's 1.4 trillion GDP and can lose from just the first 14 days of the MCO is estimated to be 12.9 billion ringgit. The overall length of the MCO is now going to be 2 months, and the loss from just manufacturing is going to be far larger than initial estimates. The loss of production and exports account from just the manufacturing sector for the first 14 days of the MCO is forecast 64.6 billion ringgit and 32 billion ringgit respectively.
We move to the employment in manufacturing industry before and after pandemic. We find the difference in 3 times. First, before pandemic, second, after pandemic or early pandemic, and third is in the first quarter of 2021. Before pandemic, the employment in manufacturing industry always increased. Manufacturing industry made more contribution on Malaysia's economy and caused high growth rate and expansion. So this led to the increase in demand for labor. That's why employment in manufacturing industry always ranked highest among others every year. And before pandemic, the unemployment rate decreased slightly in every year. So the changes caused labor force to increase. After pandemic happened, which is in 2020, the employment started to decrease. This happened due to the MCO. At that time, manufacturing industry can't operate because they didn't categorize in essential industry. Here, many employers and companies face loss in their business. In order to maintain their economic well-being, they need to cut off some costs. So many workers were laid off and some of them lowered their salaries. In result, the unemployment rate rose sharply, but the labor force decreased by only 0.001 billion, which is just a little. However, in the first quarter of 2021, different things happened. The employment in manufacturing industry started to increase back. During MCO 2.0, which is in January, manufacturing industry are allowed to operate but only for 18 sectors which responsible in producing personal protective equipment, and only 60% of the workers or manpower can work in each time. They need to follow the SOPs. Because of this opportunity, 56.7 vacancies are available for manufacturing industry, and it is the highest among others industries. The labor force also started to increase from January to May, and the positive growth made unemployment rate decline since February.
Next, the issues facing during the pandemic.
Next, the issue that manufacturing industry facing during the pandemic is employee issue. Manufacturing and production related workplace clusters have been identified as drivers to the increase in the number of positive COVID-19 cases. So because of it, the movement control order is enforced and makes the operation considered temporary stopping. Because of this, there are certain number of workers have been fired and they are unsure if they will be rehired when the operation starts. And those who are able to stay on the job are concerned about their long-term employment prospects. And employees may require more time off to care for a sick relative or even themselves due to the COVID-19 disease. Employee morale is low and management is distrusted in businesses that have experienced layoff. The second issue is working from home. Employees on the production line obviously cannot work from home as they need to use the machines, not like the other lines. For example, office workers and the educators, they just need the computers to work from home. Because of this reason, there is an alternative for the manufacturing industry to make a changes in the way of the operation workflows, which is from manual to digital workflows. And there are so many reasons why they have to do digital workflows. It is because they will save their time, they also reduce risk, increase efficiency, and lower the cost. Plus, the employers can control the workers remotely from home. However, the situation that we are living right now are not suitable to make these huge changes. Lastly, the Ministry of Human Resources received 1,769 complaints involving employers not allowing employees to work from home during the implementation period of the Movement Control Order. It is because the employers are concerned about their workers' productivity at home, and there are also some limitation in equipment that makes the workers cannot work from home. Due to the violation of the government order, the employers or the factories can be sued.
A third issue that the manufacturing industry has to face during the COVID-19 outbreak is supply chain disruption. As we all know, China is one of our largest trading partners, and due to the restriction, the whole industry and supply chain activity have been harmed and affected. This includes the import and export activities in Malaysia. For example, auto manufacturing industry has to reduce their production due to the shortage of semiconductor chips and raw materials. And if this situation prolonged, it may cause the product increase in price and lower profitability or even losses for manufacturer.
Government response on manufacturing industry due to pandemic. Government responses on manufacturing industry case caused by COVID-19 pandemic through two tools that are monetary policy and fiscal policy. Monetary policy refers to the supply of money set by the central bank, Bank Negara Malaysia (BNM), while fiscal policy refers to the government's choices regarding the overall level of government purchases or taxes. Throughout the pandemic crisis, Malaysia introduced 5 economic stimulus packages with both monetary policy and fiscal policy injection. The first stimulus package is Economic Stimulus Package 2020 (ESP). Number 2, Prihatin Rakyat Economic Stimulus Package 2020 Prihatin. Number 3, Additional Prihatin SME Economic Stimulus Package Prihatin SME Plus. Number 4, National Economic Recovery Plan Penjana. And number 5, National People's Wellbeing and Economic Recovery Package Pemulih. Some government responses through ESP are BNM will establish RM2 billion Special Assistance Facility SRF to assist the cash flow of the affected SMEs. Other than that, BNM expanded fund utilisation specially for SMEs involved in food production worth RM1 billion for working capital and capital expenditure. BNM allocate RM300 million to establish SME automation and digitalization facility ADF for SMEs to upgrade, modernize, and rejuvenate their assets. In Prihatin, government gives a 1-month extension of the wage subsidy program 3.0, which is only for local workers, a 3-month automatic loan moratorium for individuals and SMEs, and a 1-month human resources development levy exemptions. Prihatin SME Plus is focusing on helping SMEs to stay resilient in the face of economic pressure. This stimulus package is very crucial since the SMEs are a key driver as they contribute almost 40% to the economy. Therefore, The special grant for SMEs includes the introduction of wage subsidies for companies that employ local workers earning 4,000 ringgit or less. Special Prihatin grant for 3,000 ringgit for each micro company, which will benefit nearly 700,000 micro SMEs nationwide, reducing the levy on foreign workers by 25% to all companies with work permits that will expire in period of 1st April to 31st December 2020. For Penjana, Malaysian government announced incentives for foreign companies to relocate their businesses to Malaysia. So some of the incentives are 0% tax rate for 10 years for new investment in manufacturing sectors, with capital investment between 300 million ringgit to 500 million ringgit. 100% income tax Act 1967 ITA for 5 years for an existing company in Malaysia relocating overseas facilities into Malaysia with capital investment above 300 million ringgit. And special investment allowance RA for manufacturing and selected agriculture activity from year of assessment 2020 to year of assessment 2021. The latest stimulus package is pemulih. So some of the key takeaways of pemulih that related to the manufacturing industry are micro SMEs to receive additional assistance of 500 ringgit in September and 500 ringgit in November. Additional 100 ringgit million under SME digitalization grant for SMEs and micro SMEs to get matching grants of up to 5,000 ringgit for purchase or subscription of digital systems. And the extension and enhancement of the wage subsidy program WSP.
Last but not least, the summary of manufacturing industry in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemic. For the summary, due to movement control order, manufacturing sector had to deal with disruption. The output production drops gradually while the price level is unstable. Manufacturing industry performance during the pandemic slightly declines due to movement control order as one of the ways to break the chain of the virus. And the employee issues, working from home, and the interruption of supply are the challenges that the manufacturing industry undergo during the COVID-19 outbreak. Moreover, employment rate of manufacturing sector in March 2020, employers need to reduce manpower in the industry in order to maintain the economic well-being. Fortunately, in 2021, it was declared that this industry are given permission to be operated. Thus, the number of employments has sustained its positive rise for several months. Nevertheless, since there are a lot of circumstances caused by this COVID-19 pandemic, the government of Malaysia need to step in due to ensuing economic conditions through monetary policy and fiscal policy. Therefore, Economic Stimulus Package 2020, Prihatin Rakyat Economic Stimulus Package 2020, Additional Prihatin, National Economic Recovery Plan, and National People's Wellbeing and Economic Recovery Package are the government responses to COVID-19 to stabilize the current economic situation.